Alrighty. Why CommonHouse? Now maybe some of you have seen some of this, but I want to walk through it in part, again as a reminder, but also for those who weren't here, so we have a little teaching piece. Part of what motivated the creation of CommonHouse is talking to folks and saying, gosh, I wish we could go deeper. I wish we could have more penetrating conversation. I'm yearning for something, but I don't find it anywhere. And so this endeavor is to say, can we create a community that allows deeper, more penetrating, more spiritually, more mentally challenging ideas? Can we do that together to satisfy that yearning? Another is that there are so many communities out there that do either work with consciousness or spirituality or all kinds of things, and they're just scattered everywhere. And one of our goals, we're not doing much of this yet, is to start bringing these communities together into a larger sense of camaraderie, that we really are doing work together. There's also a global need. We live in unprecedented times. Things are changing so fast, and there seems to be a need for a place where consciousness can actually evolve. And I'll say more about that in just a minute. And finally, Alexander's laughing. How many of you know the Enneagram? I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. The Enneagram 7 wants to play and have a good time. So anyway, that's part of the motivation. We can actually have a good time and celebrate here. So this is almost cliche, Einstein's quote, but it nonetheless has amazing wisdom. You cannot solve the problems with the same level of thinking that created. And CommonHouse is truly dedicated. Can we change our mindset, our emotional relationship, and move into a different way of living? So our purpose is to nourish the evolution of human consciousness by developing more complex understanding, more complex mental capacity, a deeper capacity for caring, an emotional resilience that allows us to open our hearts. And can we open to that expansive presence in our heart? Can we pay attention to the silence within? And to experiment. We're standing at a place in history that has probably not happened in human history. We don't know how to go ahead. And it is my belief that moving ahead depends on small, courageous communities really trying to step into the unknown. And that's our challenge. So we use this map. You've all seen this before, I know. Let me talk about it. The flower at the center basically says we're going to bring in as many perspectives as we possibly can. And in particular across the different faiths, to include atheists, indigenous, Christian, the nuns, or spiritual but not religious, Sufi, Hindu, Buddhism, and invite conversations that push the edge. A number of you, how many of you were here when Dan was here? So we did pretty good. We're just beginning this process. So I think we made some good steps. If you remember, the opening question to Zan was, Zan, so tell me about the Jews and money. Right? And that started off pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so that's part of it. Every perspective, every viewpoint is true, and it is partial. It does not have the whole truth. But no tradition lacks some truth. So every tradition has part of it, but no one perspective has all of it. So, if you disagree, don't get mad, get curious. It's one of my favorite sayings ever. And that could be our motto here. So, further going on with the map. This map says there are 4 irreducible dimensions of ourselves. Kind of this interior sense of self. Who am I? Our relationships here. I'm telling you a story. We're engaging together in a story they'll form relationships with us. That's how we create culture. Our physical bodies, our brains, our physiology shape who we are. And the social systems, our laws, our economy, all those things, all of these things shape who we are and how we act in the world. The value of this is you can't reduce any of these to one of the others. So, neuroscience wants to say our religious or our spiritual feelings are just a bunch of neurons firing. So, no. Neurons firing in your machine may indicate that state, but it is not explained by just physical activity. There is a deep personal experience that cannot be explained by neurons. All right. And then the spiral points to the fact that everything evolves. And at some point along the line, I will spend time on which each of these stages mean and what they imply. The demand of using this map, that comes from integral theory, is that in our evolution, in our own personal development, we move from one stage to the other, but if we're going to move healthfully, each of those stages must bring the best wisdom of the previous one and include it in the next step. So we can't just jettison this. Our culture wars, our polarization in this country is often built around saying, I live in this modern worldview and the rest of you are idiots and you got to see it my way, right? And the traditional view does it as well. The demand for us as a community is to look into those other worldviews, those other ways of seeing, and open our hearts to the truth that are the truth that are there. So altogether, this gives us both a guideline for times where we don't really know we're going, and it makes demands upon us. One that we build a community that's safe, where we can speak, share our views, and know that we're not going to be criticized. I mean, this group is easy, you know. This is a loving group. I know most of you, a lot of you know one another. So we're off to a very good start. We then need to challenge ourselves, push ourselves, really challenge our fundamental premises so that we can actually evolve. So that's our task. How do we balance those, holding safety and challenge at the same time, so that we don't get too comfortable?